here's a really great tool this broker has, and you can have it too if you set up an account with them. And it's called a market replay program. What it does is it basically records the markets as they occurred. And this particular day was January 17th. And what I'll do is I'll just go through this recording here and show you where I would have placed some trades. Normally I do this with trade mode open, but I haven't found a way to blur out my account number, so I'll just go through the trade as it occurred and show you what I would do. Right here I've got it set up to 20 speed. It actually works best around 1.5, but I'll set it at 20 just to speed up to the areas where that I'm looking for to place the trade. So this would be the opening market. Just for a second, I'll show you normal speed would be around here. But for the purpose of the illustration, I'll speed it up to 20 times. But as you can see, the opening market is completely different than the overnight market, so you want to wait through these first minutes until you start getting a fractal formation. Like, for example, it might be tempting to go short here, but we really don't have enough. We can't really go off the previous fractal information, because when we're starting the new day, it's a whole different story here. So let's speed this up a little bit and see what forms up here. This is one of these things, you know, in real time you're going to have to be a little bit patient and wait for those fractals to form up, and don't make any assumptions. Right now it looks like it's heading down, but okay, so now we've got I paused it again. Now we've got a crossover right here, but we don't have a fractal yet. There's no fractal formation yet. So although you could have traded at that crossover, you'd have to be very quick to get that. And usually it's more of a guess or a gamble until you get that first fractal formation. So it's better just to wait for those, because you'll have plenty of opportunities. You don't need to jump at everything that comes along there. Okay, so what we're looking for here, we see that it's entered an uptrend here, and we're looking for it to hold that uptrend. Kind of got a lower low right here, and that looks like a fractal to me. That's number 2 point. This will be the number 1 point, and that looks like a number 3 point right there. So usually I'd want to trade if that close stays near the 8 EMA line, I'd want to trade the next open right at that previous close. So normally what you want to do to time it is look up here at the timer, and when that counts down to 0, you know that the other bar is about to open. But using the market replay, I'll just use the time up here, and because it's not accurate in a recording. So see, I missed that one because I just had it moving too quickly. But yeah, you can see right there, even though it's not, it's some distance from the 8 EMA line, that would have been, it's probably going to go on to be a successful trade right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that would be 5 points. But we had a lot of alert. I just didn't catch it because I had it sped up to 20 times. But at normal speed, you'd want to trade the opening right there. And let's just look for the next one. Once it gets away from you, don't try to chase it. But see how as it moves up, it's drawing the 8 EMA line, so it looks like it's right on the line. At the time, though, it was not right on it. So you kind of have to project what it's going to do if it were to move up. I know it looks a lot easier looking back in it, but in reality, that line is moving, so you've got to be able to project a little bit. So that was a trade right here, and I missed that because of, but you see I was alerted to it. I just missed it because I had it sped up. But we'll look for the next one here. Whoop. Let's see here. That's parallel. I like to see it. See how that low is parallel or even with the other low. And I like to see it lower and closer to that line. But okay, it's going to drop below. Oh. Okay. So now that we have that low, I'm looking for the next price bar. So let's go to normal speed here. And so right now we're at 23 seconds. Normally in live trading we'd be looking at this countdown timer right here. When it gets to 0, that other bar will open. But that's not accurate in a recording. So okay, so that's one of the reasons you can't assume that the number 3 point is made, because it dropped lower than we thought. So when you get it dropping below that line right here, that can be a trend reversal, a sign of a trend reversal, as you start bending that 8 EMA towards that magenta line. But in this case, we're just starting to trend up, so it's just a long pullback. And so I'm going to watch for this next bar to resume the trend upward and try to catch the trade somewhere around there. But right now we know it's forming it's going to form a number 3 point somewhere in this vicinity of this blue line, because this line contains a trend. So if I can get long somewhere around in here, I know I'm going to probably have a good trade, and that's the probability there. So I'm watching the countdown. So when that hits a minute up here on this recording, or 51 seconds, 52, that next price bar will open. And so if I had the trade mode open, boom, I hit buy right there. So we already saw the number 3 point form, and so we're already up $60, a few points, and we're getting close to the target, assuming we entered right about here. You want to try to enter the new open where it's even with the previous close. That's about where you're trying to enter it, right there, because you know that's going to be close to the 8 EMA line. It hasn't quite hit it yet. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just barely hit it, but that probably wouldn't have got us out of the trade yet. sometimes these can try your patience, even though that seems, it's just a minute of time, but it seems forever if you have actual money on the line. There we go. So you could probably even enter here and you'd be fine. This is where the patient comes in. When it takes over a minute, you start getting a little nervous. See how this is higher than this point right here. This could be a reversal right here. It could, but it would have to take out that low, reverse. As we can see, it's continuing the trend. And you see the blue EMA line is opening up like the alligator's mouth. So that's a really good sign we're in a solid uptrend here. Okay, let's look for the next one. So I'll speed it up again. Oh, that one happened pretty quick. So if this is happening in real time, it'd probably be long right about here. See, as that new opening bar. So you want to try to really be accurate with those. That's why I try to get it on the opening, because that gives us, it's a marker to enter the trade. You know, it's just some place to enter it. And looks like it's right in the middle here, but if that were to move up, that's going to draw that blue line up. So we'll see if that's accurate. Sometimes I'm not. That's why I have a stop loss that's 5 points lower in case my timing's a little off and that comes back against me. So we'll see how that goes. Whoop. And it did. Came back. Okay. Now see right here, that's a sign that if you start seeing these Bollinger Bands, they're starting to narrow. That's a sign that it could be trying to reverse or at least come back below the blue line. So this might come back and haunt me, this trade right here. If I had entered here, I might have to withstand a little bit of negative movement. Let's see how that works out. A little bit. That's from not being patient. So there would be the proper sign of a number 3 point forming. You want it to break below, pretty good below the low of the previous bar in an uptrend. And this one really, we didn't have a good break like that, but this would be a better signal right there. And you just want to be patient, let that 1, 2, 3, that number 3 point to come down, and then the idea is to catch it as it's moving back up, preferably enter right on that blue line. But this could come back pretty far. Nope. Got lucky on that one. Oops. Maybe not. That wasn't really 5 points. So normally, let's say if I entered here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is where my stop loss is down here. So as long as that's not being hit, we're still in the trade. And we're just in a little bit of a congestion area there. These make you really nervous. There it goes. So that would have hit the next 5 point trade. So so right now you see we had about one trade here, about one trade here, and kind of got in a little bit in a sloppy way over here and had to wait through this congestion here. That's normal. Ideally, you'd want to get in right here at this line, and so we're up about $400 right now, and that's only 20 minutes into it. And so you just patiently wait for the next fractal, even though you might lose a lot of points trading this way with a target, because it's moving a lot more than you're capturing with just the target. You can't let that bother you if you're going to trade targets. To capture those, you want to use another method, like a trailing stop loss. Okay, see how we're getting right on the edge of this Bollinger Band here. That's a good area for reversal, and if the farther you get away from that 8 EMA line, and let's say it breaks below a low, that's more of a signal of a trend change is coming up. So yeah, see, this is probably going to keep going upward here, but this is a judgment call. That's kind of a risk. It's still a good distance. I mean, the 8 EMA line is still a good distance from the 14 moving average, and it's still moving upward. It's still positive, so that might be a good bet. But just to be safe, I wouldn't take that trade because it's too far away from it, even though it's going to go on to hit our target if we did take that trade. But some of them are risky, and more risky than others, and you want it close to that 8 EMA line. By the way, that's a good example of an inside bar. It really didn't make a number 3 point, but it was kind of made a number 2 point here because it was lower than that number 2 point and still higher than that number 3 point. So that's what I would call a phantom number 3 right there. Now it's broken below this low here, so that's setting you up for the next number 3 point. That's iffy because look at the distance from the 8 EMA line. The most likely thing for it to do is come back and bounce off this line here, and so even though I miss a trade, yep. So yeah, we get the pullback here. In real time, you have more time to kind of judge it. I'm going to want to see a little bit more development on that because that looks like it's reversing. Okay, that's a pretty good sign that it needs to come down below that 8 EMA line and then back through it if I'm going to go long again there. So look how far it's come down. Now if it were a reversal pattern here, normally what would happen is it would come back down and you'd probably get one more leg up. If it's highly volatile, it's good. You can take that trade and get away with it, but sometimes, if it's moderate or low volatility like here, it's not good to take that leg up because that's usually the leg you're going to have before it reverses on you. So let's continue to watch it develop here. Okay. let's say I gamble here. This is kind of a judgment call, and go long right here, assuming that that number 3 point is going to occur on that line. So let's see what I do. Oop. Yeah, that's not looking good. At this point, I'd probably be prepared to go to reverse. If it comes back down, breaks below that number, that'll be the new number 2 point. If that was number 1, this would be number 2. This would be 3 of a 1, 2, 3 top. So if it breaks below that, you know you're looking at a reversal, and you probably want to go short there. Oh. Okay, continue. Probably hit the reversal button right there. Yeah, so we're looking at a. If I went long there, I'd be scrambling about now because I need to reverse that position and pick up the money. I just didn't lose too much because we're only, if our entry is right there, we're only about 40 bucks below the entry. So if I reverse it, I can probably pick up my losses very quickly. So let's reverse the trade. And that's scary too, because now we're getting the uptrend. See how long that takes? It's kind of like forever. Okay, that's pretty close to hitting that target. So we reversed right here. 1, 3, 4, 5. So we hit our target on the reversal. And so lost about 40 here, but probably picked up another $60 here. So we're 60 in profit for having been smart in reversing. That's just the way things happen sometimes with that, and you don't always catch that reversal trade, but a good signal, a good sign here that it was about to reverse was the distance it was from this 80 MA line, and it broke below that. And so it's just a matter of being patient, waiting for the number 3 to form. And if we see it's really starting to turn that line downward, and it's a good bet that it's going to reverse on us here. Now we're still in a uptrend if you look on the intermediate level here, and so that's probably not going to hold in a downtrend here. So anyway, that's pretty much how it goes. So I guess I've been going pretty long here, so I'll just end it.